how can we utilize AI to help our customers? Or what do our customers need to know? How can they utilize AI to make their job better, easier, faster?
Well, I mean, AI is, I think, like, will be ultimately bigger than, the internet itself. A good example is when we were talking about when we were starting out with CDI, the idea of having websites, stuff like that, that was fairly new. I think technology was emerging. And nowadays it's like kind of the basis for business, even your business operations. Like, most people before, websites and internet, they did their business either through paper or they were using some desktop software or something like that. Just a few people would have computers working those desks until eventually everyone was doing things online and we stopped using kind of apps on your computer a lot less and using websites. It is literally kind of the operating system of the way business works is the web. And I think AI is in the exact same way, where it is transformative in the sense that it will replace a lot of things that we've been doing before, and also I think be the kind of operating system in which all business and kind of commerce works. And so to the point where I think not too far down the line, people will still be using the web often to access AI, but people will stop like visiting websites as much, and going to doing things within web apps, and they'll just be doing it within the AI. However, that user interface kind of manifests as we go on, but ultimately I think a lot of people will be just being there instead of where they would now be in a web browser. I mean, they still might be in a web browser, but instead of going to an individual specific website, they'll just be interacting it through whatever AI interface, whether that's the chatbot interface or what other new interfaces they create for the AI.
So when you say like chatbot, like do you mean like ChatGPT?
Yeah, when the internet kind of we're starting to search, we came to the synonymous word called like Google it, because they just won the market share of kind of the mind share of like web search.
Yeah.
ChatGPT, I think, has that place right now when people think about AI and chat, they're thinking about ChatGPT, even though there's other options out there. So that's kind of what we think about. But it could be ChatGPT, it could be Gemini, it could be Claude. There are other players out there, but some sort of interface in which you're like interacting with AI. I mean, that's changing all the time in the sense that there are other ways to interact with AI as things come forward. If you have if you're a Microsoft user, there's like tools called like Copilot, they're AI tools. Yes. So a lot of these AI tools have different ways you can interact with them. Usually it's a chat. ChatGPT just released like a desktop app, so even if you don't want to go on the web, you can just use a desktop app to interact with ChatGPT.
Oh, okay.
But however that is working with the chatbot or with the AI, that is, I think, going to be kind of the default operating system or the way people are doing business as we go forward.
Yeah. Tell me more about that though. Like how do they use it to do business?
Well, think about anything. I mean, honestly, anything you do online. Most people will go online for getting information. They're doing search or something like that. And there's really no good reason not to do that in a chatbot first. But even if you're on Google, like they're going to give you AI answers anyways. If you're doing search on Google, you can put it into AI mode, which is a way to like just literally work with AI and not have to visit the websites. But I think as you move forward, people are just going to want to interact within those chat things to do. So if you were going to like interact with a business, you're going to buy something or search for something or anything you would go to a website for, there's no reason to actually go to that website at some point. You would just ask the chatbot to do it for you. So think about anything you would do online, whether it's, adjusting your calendar, producing documents, running reports, shopping, buying, or anything you do online. There's probably going to be a way to do it in chat going forward, if not already. And I think people are just going to spend more and more time in that interface as opposed to other interfaces because it'll be a lot easier. They can talk to it, which is a lot less friction.
Yeah.
It's conversational. The agents or the AI can do things on your behalf in a long fashion, so you can kind of give them orders to do things and then like come back and check on them.
Yeah.
So I just think that interface will take over all of the ways, a lot more of the ways you do, just like the web browser took over a lot of things that you would normally do on the desktop or might do without a computer.
Yep.
I think the chatbots, they may change their interface as things goes on, be more interactive, so it may not seem as much as chat because they could evolve into having more complex user interfaces, but ultimately I think that is the place where people will be doing all their, knowledge-based business.